It's time to take command with former NFL tight end Logan Paulsen and former Commanders beat reporter Craig Hoffman.
How do you think it will be different? Like, obviously, he's going to take a lot from Reid, which is a good thing because Andy Reid's pretty freaking smart. But what do you think are some things that maybe he does a little bit differently, or some of the core principles of his offense that if you're just a fan watching on Sundays, or if you have a more highly elevated understanding of the game and you're breaking it down, that you will see in an Eric Bieniemy offense that is truly EBs as opposed to the kind of collaborative nature of what he's been running in Kansas City?
I hope they bring the fullback back, to be honest with you. Like that, to me,
Yeah.
everyone's in this 11 spread, all this stuff. Like, yeah, you bring a fullback back and you start beating people up, all of a sudden the passing game becomes simple because now they have to load the box. You make it simple for any quarterback that comes in. I thought Brian Robinson did a great job of running downhill. Antonio Gibson, you can move him around. You have two. Then you have okay, it slipped my mind again. You're gonna have to edit this. The smaller running back. I was with them. I've been doing
DJ McKissick.
no,
Or
not
JD
McKissick.
McKissick or
JD
Jared
Smith.
Patterson?
Jared Patterson. I trained Jared Well, I
Did you
trained
really?
with him in Miami. We have the same agent. So you have, even with McKissick, you have another receiver, a former receiver. Like, you have players that you can utilize. But I think going downhill and really setting the tone of games, if you look at some of the teams that were more physical, like the Niners, for example, the Niners played with their third and fourth string quarterback and still were just wearing teams out because they were a physical team. And it's hard for teams to account for when everyone's in 11 and 4 receivers and whatever it may be. And so I think you'll see Logan Thomas line up a little bit wider than, what you've seen just because of the Travis Kelce element there. But to me, I think you're going to see a more physical, and I know Scott Turner is a good friend of mine as well. He was more of a shotgun physical run, right? Shotgun runs. I think you're going to see more outside zone, inside zone, maybe some ISO in there, which sets up your play action pass and still the ability to spread teams out and attack them with bubble screens and slip screens and down the field shots.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And so, like, everyone talks about EB and kind of how abrasive he is, and you talked about that. Like, I remember a story about you in college, and this was one of my most vivid college memories. We were doing blitz pickup, okay, and you were out there, and you went to the right guy, and the offensive line screwed it up, right? They let someone go free, and I remember he yelled at you like I've never seen anybody get yelled at. And this is like when you're up for like the Heisman, like you're in that kind of conversation. And he kind of just yelled at you in a way that I was like, what is going on? And I was like, why is he yelling at me? Go to the right guy. And then you were like, I went to the right guy. He's like, I don't give an F, man. You got to make him right. And I was like, that is like the standard. He's got like this absolute crystal standard. Do you think everybody can handle that? I'm not sure.
That's the thing. Like, I don't know if everyone can handle it. But he's going to push you to your limits, right? He's not going to allow you to get complacent. I mean, I could tell you, so the year before you got there, we played in Washington, right?
Uh-huh.
And I broke the Pac-12 record and almost set the NCAA record for yards in a game.
In the game, yeah.
326 yards in a game. And when we came back to the meeting, he was like, oh, this is going to be a quick meeting, short, like nothing easy, light. I was like, oh, cool. We're going to see all my good plays. No. He showed every run play that I missed the hole where I could have rushed for 500 yards because the expectation is to be perfect, right? And if you're striving to be perfect, being great is nothing. And so that was his mindset going forward. And look, I was a 17-year-old freshman dealing with this, but over time you understand as I gotten older, I appreciate that. I'd rather you tell me to my face what's going on instead of what some coaches do. They wait till they get in these other meetings with other coaches. Well, he didn't do it. Like, tell me so I can try to fix it,
Right.
And I think a lot of players don't want to hear the truth sometimes, right? Because like, well, I'm great. I've done this and I've done that. Like, no, I want to be perfect. I want you to tell me, like, my mindset was always about trying to be the best player, period. Not the best that I could be. I wanted to be known as the best. And obviously we had Reggie Bush in LA at the time.
Yeah.
We had so many guys. So there were some days that he got on my nerves a little bit, but I understood what the purpose of it was, right? It was to be the best ever. And so this, like you said, like the offensive line might have messed up and he'd have been like, well, you should have jumped on their guy.
Yeah.
Right. You saw your guy being blocked. You should have went to their guy. Right. And so the standard of expectation that he holds you to is some people may say unreasonable, but
no, I get you. I got you.
Like, again, like I always tell people, everyone that played in that backfield with me at UCLA or was coached by Bieniemy maximized their career,
Mhm.
right? Michael Petrie was our fullback. He's a running back coach for the Falcons right now,
Yeah.
but he maximized his career. He was
Yeah.
able to go to Chicago and play. He got in the coaching. He's able to maximize his career because he understands what the expectation is. And what people don't understand about EB, he played 9 years in the league
Mhm.
and he played behind some great players. And he had to fight and claw every day to try to be a starter for the Chargers or the Bengals. He had to play special teams. He had to do all the things that we had to do. And he understood what it took to get to be the best of the best, right? And so that's how he coaches. And again, that's why you see production.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people like misconstrue that aggressive demeanor as like a kind of a maliciousness, but he does like legitimately care about you, and he's like trying to advocate for that.
Bro, Logan, a couple years ago, I was going through like kind of you retire, you're
Yeah.
trying to figure life out. We all go through our little stuff. And I had saw him at the combine. He stopped working.
Mhm.
This is what people don't understand. Like, he was like, hey, I want you to come hang out with me all week. So literally all week, I'd wake up, I'd go with him, I'd sit in there with him and Andy Reid. So we go to lunch together, breakfast, dinner, and we would just talk because he cares about you as a person, right? Like, yes, like I said, he got on me and rode me, but
Yeah.
I'm like a son to him
Yeah.
because our bond and how we work. And so I try to tell people like, yes, he has an aggressive nature, but we play an aggressive sport.
Mhm.
I want my play caller to try to score like I've been around play callers that are like, oh, we just want to score 21 points a game. Like, who wants that?
Right.
I want a play caller that wants to go for 50, 60 points, put your foot on their throat and crush it, right? I want that type of mindset. But you just don't get that type of mindset by just calling plays and just being happy-go-lucky all the time. Like you get that attitude in your offense takes the demeanor of their play caller by the way they coach. And I think that's something that, I'm excited to see how the Commanders handle it.
So that's really interesting that you mentioned that because I was listening to an interview earlier today with Brad Childress, who is obviously the Vikings head coach who hired EB, gave him his first job that Chester Taylor season, and then ultimately the position coach for Adrian Peterson. And he talked about how one of the things that Bieniemy will certainly understand is kind of his role within the Commanders' ecosystem. This is a defense-first football team. Valuing the ball, time of possession is going to be very important. It's how they won games when they did win them last year. Yet, having the aggressiveness to be like, no, we're trying to score every drive. It seems like he has a really fine balance between those things because you hear you say one thing and then Childress say the other that seem to be opposed but aren't. Like, how does he balance that and kind of his understanding of, what needs to be done beyond scoring points, but the kind of place this offense will have within the Commanders' ability to win games?
Well, I think situational football, right? Each situation depends on a certain play call, a certain mindset going into it. Is it 4-minute mode? So we'll practice. Logan will tell you, we used to practice 4-minute mode at UCLA live.
Yeah.
I mean, guys are getting destroyed out there,
I
right?
remember.
He harped on that. If it's 2-minute situation live,
Mhm.
like he understands the importance of the situations, goal line, short yardage, third downs. We call it rundowns, first and second down, right? Depending on end of the half, end of the game, it's all situational based. And this is the thing. I could care less how great of a defense you have. Scoring points makes everyone happy, right? Like I just watched the 30 for 30 on the Baltimore Ravens. They went a whole month without scoring a touchdown. Like, come on, man. Like, I don't care how great of a defense you are. If someone scores points and gives you a lead, you're happy about it. You're ecstatic about it. And so, yeah, you still want to possess the clock. And I was with Jack Del Rio in Jacksonville. We'd go on 18 play drives, but we would score at the end. What's the purpose of going on an 18 play drive and punting the ball or missing a field goal or kicking a field goal?
We had a couple last year. It doesn't go great.
No,
Yeah.
Not good.
At the end of the day, you want to score points. And I think that's the biggest thing with Bieniemy is he's going to bring a mindset of we're going to be aggressive in nature, right? You could be aggressive running the football. You can be aggressive throwing screens. You can be aggressive passing the ball, and it doesn't necessarily have to be down the field, right? But it may be a 3rd and 1, and you don't take a shot, you throw it 12 yards instead of going for a run on first down, right? Like, or on 3rd down to get the first. And then there's certain situations that you do that you go. And the other part is this. I love this about Bieniemy. He's not afraid to take something out of the playbook.
Hmm.
right? Like he used to threaten us with that. Again, I shouldn't say threaten, but he used to tell us like,
Yeah.
well, if you can't get this done, we're not going to run it,
Yeah.
which to me is the smartest thing ever in the world. Because why would I put you in a situation to be bad, right? If we can't practice and run this play and have confidence in it as a group, and not the group being 11 guys on the field, but the 22 guys that are on offense, right? Or how many ever guys you have suited up on offense. If I can't run that with my third left tackle or my second left tackle or my third running back or whoever it may be, my backup quarterback, I'm not confident in that. And you saw that in Kansas City. When Chad Henne went in the game against, it had to be the Jaguars, I think.
Yeah, it was the Jags.
It's only right against the Jags. He does this, right? The game is on the line, and they come out and they run stick, a simple play. But every play after that they ran, there's something that they were confident in that Chad can do, and there was the same plays that Mahomes could do. And so to me, I've been with teams and I've seen plays and I've talked to players where offensive coordinators have 1,000 plays in their play sheet and call 60 of them in a game.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I'd rather go in there with 30 plays and call those plays 3 and 4 times in a row to get to 60, right? And so I think it's important that is, even though as a 17-year-old I called it a threat, but it wasn't a threat. It was like, if we can't do it, if I can't trust that you can do it, I'm not going to put you in that situation to not be successful.
And there's better stuff, right? There's better stuff in your playbook that you feel good about. And I think to your point, I think like even though they're, scoring points is so important, like his aggressive nature in situational football, kind of what you were alluding to there, is also an advantageous situation for this offense, right? He's going to scheme up that 3rd and 1 to put you in the best position to be successful. So I think even if you don't want to score a ton of points, like for whatever reason, you want to lean on the defense, like he has an ability to kind of attack each segment of the game in a really high level way, which I think is going to be very, very valuable. So I'm looking forward to seeing him here. I'm looking forward to talking to him a little bit. It's an exciting opportunity.
I got to say this to you guys too, because it's so funny. The staff that I first went to UCLA with, Kyle Shanahan was a GA.
Dude.
So he
That's
learned
ridiculous.
a lot of what we did at UCLA. He learned and still runs with the Niners.
Yeah.
Obviously his tree comes off of that as well. The back of that, Tom Cable, one of the better offensive line coaches in the game, was on that staff as well. Obviously you were there, Logan. Dino Babers, one of the top. He had Syracuse rolling for a little bit.
Go
like,
Orange.
yeah, like
Finally, we hit my alma mater.
But what I'm trying to tell, like that staff
Yeah.
and that knowledge that those guys have, and then on top of the Andy Reid staff and the resource that he could reach out to, and the people, like it's unlimited. And so I'm not saying he's going to be the Niners offense. I'm not saying that, but you're going to see glimpses of it. You'll see motions and shifts and maybe a fullback in there, some outside zone, more physicality. You'll see some play action pass off of that. And so to me, I think it's an exciting time to be a Commanders fan. I think, I think before it's an exciting time, I think you got to figure out who's going to be your quarterback. I know Ron Rivera's kind of told everybody that it's going to be Sam Howell. And I know he played well in a game or two in that at the end of the season. But I think as these things go, you're going to be surprised by how this offense looks and how fast they play and how tough they are and how physical they become.
Yeah, I said yesterday on the radio show, this is uncharacteristically good for this organization. Like there has not been a move that has me, at least as an analyst, as excited and optimistic that they have made since I started covering the team in 2015. And that's, multiple quarterback acquisitions. That's, spending big on Landon Collins and pick your coaches, anything. Maybe outside of firing Bruce Allen, there's been nothing that this organization has done that is as good as this, at least on paper. Thanks for watching this clip of Take Command. First, why don't you like it? It lets other people know that it was good, and then they should watch it too. And Logan, we have a new exclusive home for full episodes.
We do. 1067 The Fans YouTube page. Go check it out and please subscribe.
Yeah, do what Logan said.
Do
He's
it.
Very, very smart.